cybersecurity jobs? Because I mean, there are like 4 million cybersecurity professionals we're lacking right now. 4 million.
I know, absolutely. That's a great one. Absolutely. Okay, we are live. So thanks everybody who has joined this. It's going to be a quick introduction for people that haven't seen it to poetry, what it looks like, how it works. Chad knows a little bit about it, but he's not a super user, so he
No.
is going to be giving me like any questions he's got around like how should we be using it. And so I think where to start is like introduction for you, Chad. I think most people who are on here, you're like a celebrity in our industry, right? So most people know who you are, but just in case they don't, quick introduction from you.
Yeah, Chad Sowash. I've been in the recruitment tech industry since before Monster was Monster. I've been 25 plus years. Last gig before I got into this whole podcasting thing, I was with Ronstad, building literally talent funnels for big companies like Ford Motor Company. It was mainly around veteran hiring. Got out of that, got into consulting. Got with my buddy Joel Cheeseman. We started doing the Chad and Cheese podcast really as a branding exercise to be able to get our voices out there, and it exploded. So we're almost 8 years in to doing the podcast. Have jumped over into YouTube, so now we're all the kids can see us, or on TikTok, all that other fun stuff. But yeah, no, just glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
How many episodes? Hundreds, I guess.
Over 1,300. We're approaching 1,400. Yeah, 1,400 episodes. So yeah, and we started on YouTube, I think about 1.5 years ago. So we probably have about 200 videos on there, shorts and episodes.
And if I think about what's happened in that 8 years, I mean, like the world of recruitment technology has been very, very dynamic. There's been a lot happen. And so I guess you're never running out of things to talk about, right?
No. Well, and that was the funny thing, is that when we started, it was one podcast a week, and we just one episode a week. And Joel said, "Do you think we're going to have enough content?" I said, "We'll see. We'll see." And so we committed to 1 year. And here we are, 8 years later. And the most beautiful thing about this is, when I got into the industry back in 1998 with Online Career Center, which became Monster, we launched as monster.com in 1999. That was exciting. It was an exciting time. We were going from newspaper online, things were being digitized. I mean, it was amazing. The internet was on fire, literally. And that was exciting, but it's not as exciting as what is happening now. So much tech. And again, you take a look at where a lot of the innovation was happening. There were centers over, all over the world, little centers, blips here and there, but mainly in the US. Now it's happening everywhere. And that is wonderful. Love to see all of the innovation that's happening all over the world, in the EU, in Asia, all over the place. It's amazing.
One other thing I think you benefit from in terms of the podcast is that because you're in recruiting, and recruiting like attracts a lot of colorful people to it, a lot of extroverts and, a diverse group of people. You've got a lot of people to talk to and about as well. I think that's probably a benefit rather than some other drier subjects.
Yeah. Well, we were doing that one podcast or episode a week. Now we're doing 3 to 4. So yes, there are plenty of very colorful people. There are plenty of knowledgeable people. Not to mention, one of the things that our industry has not done, which we are forcing it to understand, is we talk to economists. We talk to people who generally you would think that are like outside of our industry. No. We are the economy. The workforce is the economy. Then we get into government, talking legislation, talking compliance, those types of things. So digging into things that actually impact not just the VP of TA, but everybody all the way down through that, not to mention the vendors, staffing companies. And that's the exciting part.
Cool. So I'll give you my sort of elevator pitch around poetry, and then just like tell me what your comments are around the issue. So recruiters need to use many different assets and a lot of knowledge to get their tasks completed. But nearly every recruitment technology is aimed at finding, assessing, managing, and nurturing candidate profiles, right? But managing candidate profiles and finding candidate profiles is like only a part of what a recruiter does.
Mm-hmm.
They are having to build a whole multitude of like research assets and marketing assets and recruiting assets, like interview questions and things like that. These things are like typically all over the place. And there hasn't really been any kind of recruitment technology, which has been a kind of library functions
Mm-hmm.
with the ability for recruiters to easily find what they need, whether it's interview questions or outreach messaging or job adverts or whatever. And so recruiters are spending a lot of their time going and trying to find these things. And if they don't exist or they don't think they're going to be able to find them quickly, they spend a load of time going and creating things. Chad and Adam sit next to each other. Adam doesn't know that Chad reached out to similar people a month ago with some really great, outreach messaging. So I'm just getting on with it and like building my own and spending 20 minutes doing that. And the 20 minutes and 20 minutes and 20 minutes, it all adds up over the course of a day to a lot of time spent managing and creating all of those different pieces of content and knowledge and research that I need to get my tasks accomplished. Recruiters have got like 20 plus browser tabs open all the time.
Yeah.
And they've got like a whole multitude of different technologies they need to use and places they need to go. And that's really quite stressful. And recruiters are typically lone wolf personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, the notion of like collaboration is not necessarily like the thing that makes them a successful individual contributor who will go and hunt down those candidates and get those jobs filled. So put all that together, and I think there's an issue that is worthwhile trying to address.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, recruiters, a lot of them love doing research, right? And the thing is, how can you accelerate the opportunity to do research, do it faster, get more information pulled together? And the way that I like to kind of like visualize it is what poetry is meant to do is find the dots and then connect the dots. Now, in some cases, those dots don't even exist. And hopefully I'll give you some ideas today that to be able to at least the people watching. But some of those dots don't even exist. So therefore, poetry can help go out, create the dots, and then connect the dots. So therefore, if I'm a recruiter, I can jump in and I can see what other research my peers have done. And it can be faster. I can dig in even more, which is great because you don't have just surface level research that's done on a position or an industry, because a lot of recruiters, they do a lot more than just a specific industry, right? Or a specific type of position. They're across the board. So being able to do just surface level, that's not enough, especially for today. You've got to go much deeper. This allows you to go deeper, faster, and better.
I think that's a great point. And actually, this is really amplified for in-house and RPO recruiters because unlike staffing agency recruiters, where my job, when I was in a staffing agency, my job was placing newly qualified accountants between 30 and 35,000 pounds in the west of Scotland from public practice into industry. And that's what I did. And like, it's a pretty, I knew everything about that job. I knew everything about what the options were from somebody coming out of EY and moving into whether a bank would be better or a utilities company or a tech business and which types of people they would be working with. And I knew the personalities of the individuals.
Yeah.
In-house recruiters today are working on a receptionist job and a financial controller and a procurement manager, and they can't be experts in all of these things. So if we could help them learn fast, get everything they need quickly, then that really helps them to scale.
Yeah. Well, and I've got a great example for you. So you've got every company today, even Walmart is a tech company, right? If you're a tech company, what do you have to start to worry about? You have to worry about cybersecurity. These are things that many of those recruiters have never had to layer into before. They had to learn tech, right? They had the normal baseline types of jobs that they had to hire for. The next thing you know, Walmart or a company like Walmart that never even used tech before became a tech company. Oh crap, what do I have to do next, right? So now they had to learn that. Now we are in a position from a cybersecurity standpoint where we are down 4 million professionals, 4 million. So
Wow.
how do we as recruiters in this case, in this scenario, how do we actually dig into poetry and how do we get all of that information that we need so that we can find those people fast? Because if we're that many people down, the talent that we do find, we better get to them quick. So how do we do that?
Right. Okay, that's a great idea. Let's use that as a specific example. So I'm going to go into poetry and I'm going to, I don't think that's a job that's in my demo environment, so I'll need to create it. I'm sharing screen. Can you see?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm a recruiter in your team. I work. You're the head of recruitment. I work for you, and I'm going to be working on a, what would you call the job? Cybersecurity advisor.
Cybersecurity specialist.
Cybersecurity specialist. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go into my admin and org, and I'm going to add that job title in. So poetry is embedded with all these different teams and job titles and locations in my demo environment. But when a company signs up, it's automatically contextualized for them. So I can go into job titles, and within this team, I'm going to put it into the information technology team. And the job title is cybersecurity, one word, cybersecurity.
Believe so.
Specialist. Okay. Save title. Right. I mean, I know roughly what it is, but I don't know enough about it that I would know any of the information I'm about to find for you. So first thing I'll do is I'll go into my research solution, create. It is a information technology job. It's a cybersecurity specialist. It's based in, where should we do it? New York City?
Can you do remote?
Yes. The reason we have a location, so what we do is we choose a base location.
Gotcha.
And then
like a headquarters kind of?
Yeah, exactly. Because we need to be certain, because what we're going to do is probably search in, if it's remote, some of the insights that this is going to generate will probably be a bit too vague.
Gotcha.
So let's do New York City, but we'll put it as hybrid, right?
Okay.
The research type. So there's 3 different forms of research type: understanding jobs, what's the main responsibilities, what other jobs are similar, what's the average salary and benefits, etc. Right? Understanding companies, who employs these people, which companies offer the best career advancement, things like that. And then talent intelligence, workforce demographics, gender diversity, that type of thing. So let's put in, I want to know the turnover rates for this. I want to know recent trends in talent movement within this sector, gender diversity, workforce demographics. I also want to know about which companies offer the best career advancement, what types of companies commonly hire for this role.
Okay.
And I also want to understand main responsibilities, what jobs are similar, what's the most important skills, average salary and benefits. Okay. And which academic institutions offer courses related to this in New York City. Perform the research. Right. Here's the types of companies.
How many searches you would have to do just to be able to actually start to compile this information as a human being?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'd left that blank actually and not selected these specific things, it would have given me all of them, which is 27, I think, pieces of research.
Okay.
And that takes seconds. And as you just saw, I've just added this job in. We're not using information that we've got stored in here. We don't control a library of this. So here's the types of companies, the industries, I think this is really, which employ this kind of job. 76% male, according to these sources.
Yeah.
Turnover rates, 2 to 4 years. Companies with the best career progression in New York City for these.
Yeah.
These types of companies.
Yeah.
Okay. Palo Alto Networks. I'll come back to that in a second, right? I'll come back to that in a second. Let's remember that that's one that hires people that I might want to hire.
Yeah.
Okay. How many cybersecurity specialists are employed in this sector? Normally I would get a bit more of a number than that. I haven't got a particular number, but I have got some information, right? Recent trends in talent movement, talent gains and talent losses, information about that, where they've gone from and to. This is from New York.
Yeah.
Right. Job titles that are similar are these types of things. Places which offer courses relevant to this in New York City are these. Main responsibilities, here they are. Average salary. Now, this is given it to me in UK sterling just because my workspace is set up for that.
Sure.
But for you, it would be in, well, you're in Portugal right now, it would be in
Yeah.
euros.
Yeah.
Or if you were in USA, of course, it would be in
USD.
USD. Sources for that, Glassdoor, Payscale, and Indeed. So we are reading these sites in order to return back this information. Okay, what's the most important skills? These are the most important skills, right? I now know a lot more about this. I noticed that Palo Alto Networks is a company that has got good career progression for these people. So I want to find out about this company. I'm going to go into my battle cards. I will filter by name and type in Palo Alto. I can see there is no battle card for that. So I'm going to create one. I'm guessing it's just paloaltonetworks.com, but it might be something slightly different. So paloaltonetworks.com. Okay. So I'll put in the battle card for this. Palo Alto Networks. Palo Alto Networks.com. Create competitor. Okay, here's some background on this company. I mean, it's taking information from places like LinkedIn, for example. But then more important than that is when I'm clicking Generate Insights, and it's reading things like Indeed reviews and Glassdoor reviews and people's blogs and things like that about working in this particular industry. So Palo Alto Networks culture, commitment to D&I, focus on employee development, collaborative and innovative culture, comprehensive cybersecurity solutions, innovative tech focus, strong market position, and weaknesses, limited career advancement transparency, competitive work environment, and high employee turnover. Now, bear in mind, it's reading the internet to return this back. So if there's something in here that I go, actually, that's not quite right, I can just go and click on the dots, and then I can go, just change that slightly. I can click on the dots, sorry, and click edit. And then I could just go, Palo Alto Networks has faced challenges with high employee turnover. I'm going to say, like, I've learned that it's not that high, but there is some. So medium. Okay, update my insight. And then I can add my own. I could add in some information here and then choose what type of insight it is, click save, and then that's in there, right? So I want to find out a bit more about, like, what are these types of people like? So I'm going to go into my personas solution, create. It is a information technology job. Alphabetical, okay. And then it's cybersecurity specialist. It's based in, let's choose a different location, Dubai. Click generate personas. And now what this is going to do is it's going to tell us, like, what's their typical educational background? What's their typical, oh, here we go, it's done it already. Okay, typical educational background might be this. Typical work experience, 3 to 5 years in cybersecurity roles. Primary technical skills, firewalls, VPNs, IDS.
Now, is this drawing off of job descriptions from other companies and just compiling and pulling it together? Where's it getting the data from?
It is, but it's reading websites focused on, like, what's it like to do this type of job and that type of thing as well. Yeah, so it's reading the entire internet and it's aggregating that to provide back. It's a large language model that does this in the background. It reads the internet, it returns back in exactly the right format, because we've done 7,000 hours of, like, prompt engineering and setting this up in such a way whereby it's returning back exactly the information that you want. There's no hallucination. We've done temperature control on this. So we've turned the temperature right down to almost zero, which means it doesn't make things up. It's almost exclusively factual. And so, you know, there's no saying that Jane Doe is the CEO of whatever company it is.
Right.
And that type of thing. So the bit that I like most about this, though, is, like, what's their long-term career aspirations? What's their short-term career aspirations? What challenges or pain points might they be experiencing in their current role? And what types of companies or work environments might they prefer? Because when I click save, what this is now going to do is it's going to impact on like my social media posts and my social media outreach and my email copy and my landing page copy and stuff like that. So when I go and create these marketing assets, they're going to look at, like, what's the persona that we have for this job? What's our company's EVP? And, like, our sort of offer to the talent market? And how can we write something that is going to really amplify what we're offering as an answer to what are they potentially looking for or potentially wanting to get away from?
Right.
So up in the admin menu, when a company sets this up, they go up into setup configuration, And in here, there's this questionnaire. What does your company do? Why was your company started? What's your company's core values and principles? When you're setting this up, you can press a button which will read the internet and automatically populate this for you. We would always recommend that you go in and read it, make sure it's correct before you click save and start building content assets based on that, just in case anything's not quite right.
Yeah, that'd be smart.
Okay. You also add in your logo. It's going to automatically add in your career site. It's going to automatically add in your employer value proposition. It's going to add in things like, what's your company's tone of voice, right? There's a few things in here that you definitely need to do yourself, such as if you're creating an image, where would a logo go on that image, right? And then you also need to go into the templates area. And for all of these different marketing templates, you need to add in, what do I want as my intro for job adverts? What do I want as my outro for job adverts? What do I want in terms of the structure of the job advert? What do I want? It's basically Lego blocks, right?
So this is, you're setting up literally the support system for moving forward with all the jobs that you're going to market for later.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So now I've got good information about the job from the research solution. I've got good information about the companies that hire for this job from my battle cards. I've gone into my personas to find out what are these people like. And now I want to do some sourcing and marketing. So I'm going to go into my playbooks, create. It's an IT job. It is cybersecurity specialist. It's based in London. I want to do social media outreach. I want a Boolean string. I want social media post, job advert, email copy, and I'm going to build an image as well. Okay. Now, most large companies are not using the image building in here.
Why?
They're adding in their own images, and then Poetry will automatically draw from that library rather than building something. And you can configure all of this so that if you don't want recruiters in here to be building things like brand adverts or landing page copy, for example, over in the permissions area, which is accessible down here, you can set it up so that in here, you can set it up so that it will either switch that function off completely, or it will always draw from things that somebody centrally in a rec ops team or a recruitment marketing team is like the guardian for. So I'm not going to click build playbook. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 assets. If I hadn't chosen the image, then for the remaining 5 assets, that would be maybe 10 to 15 seconds that would take to develop that. It'll probably take 30 seconds in total to include the that image. Now, if I'd select build all, which is 36 or 37 assets, that would take 2 minutes and 34 seconds as of today. But based on some modifications that we're making, some enhancements we're making, we're going to be able to, by the end of November, that's going to be able to build those 36, 37 assets in less than a minute. Okay.
That's amazing. Well, see, so from looking at this from my standpoint, so we actually use a platform for podcasting, and it transcribes, it uses that information, and then it creates a synopsis, it creates titles, it creates all these different things, right? So, but it doesn't go as far as what you're doing here from all the ours is super basic, and it saves me, I kid you not, at least 2 hours per podcast, at least.
Yeah. Well, our research has told us that from the 12 international talent acquisition teams that took part in pilot programs with us this year, on average, they're saving 2 hours a day. It may well be more than that, but those people are saving 2 hours a day. So as you can see from this image, like it's done a few different things. It's embedded our logo into it. It's written it in the way that it's done it in the way that I want it. It's like photorealistic. It's got a tech vibe to it because my company's a tech company, and my settings are set up for my company as a software business.
Right.
It's representing London,
UK,
and it's using colors which are complementary to my company's brand. It's the colors that I've asked it for. So, hang on a second. Just go back to playbooks. in terms of the other assets in here, as I say, they're looking at things. It's looking at, to build this, it's looking at things like my company's EVP. It's looking at my company, the persona for those individuals, etc. So let's take a look at social media outreach, right? So this is written in a way whereby it's amplifying what we've got to offer as an employer to a cybersecurity specialist, and the kind of things that they might really value. The email copy looks like this. The job advert is a very specific format of job advert that I've asked for, with the responsibilities near the top, the responsibilities in bullets, everything else in prose. Here's my social media post. I can click additional actions and then LinkedIn from here, and I can send that. We're not doing a lot around distribution, but that was one we couldn't really ignore. Okay, let's take a look at this Boolean string. Search Google. Here are cybersecurity specialists and similar in and near London. Okay. Now, the hiring manager is being quite inflexible in terms of what they're looking for, because they think that everybody wants to work for our organization, even though there is a deficit of 4 million cybersecurity specialists in the world, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go into, I'm not going to go into hiring manager enablement. I'm going to go into my skills-based hiring solution, and I'm going to try and find out, right, what other jobs have got to look at overlap of skills with this particular job, and how could I have an intelligent conversation to try and influence the hiring manager about what they're actually looking for. So cybersecurity specialist, information technology, Dallas. I click Inspire Me. Incidentally, there are 185 different languages that I can have the output in. There is, at the admin level, the organization's language, it comes, is the default language in here. But then at an individual user level, I can go into my profile settings and I can change my language. So if our company is UK English as the standard, but I'm based in the USA, I could change mine to US English. I'm working on a job in Spain, then I could change the for the individual assets to Spanish.
Right.
Here's the related positions. Here's the essential tasks, essential skills and competencies, and a bit further down, here's an assessment strategy, right?
Oh, okay.
I'm not suggesting, we're not using taxonomies. It's not like a in-depth skills-based hiring solution, but what it is it's giving me the information I need to be able to have an intelligent conversation with the hiring manager about, could we broaden what we're looking for a little bit?
Well, it's market research, right? So you're providing market research back to the individual to help them understand that you need to do one of two things to be able to tweak this so that they can get the position filled.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just one last one. I mean, there's a lot of different solutions in here, but one last one is, and no company is going with all 28 solutions. Every company, you can easily switch off different solutions and configure the desktop. One global consulting firm, for example, they've got like 10 out of the 28 solutions.
So do you find people that are like kind of like walking, like baby stepping it in, so they're adding assets or they're adding pieces to it so that you get really good at it and then you give them a new piece, so it's like more meat, right?
They're layering it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, phases of rollout. So just one last one I want to show you, which is like the hiring manager said, yeah, fine, I want to see these candidates. Could I suggest some interview questions? I've not done this one before. This is new to our organization. So I'm going to create. It's an IT job. It's a cybersecurity specialist based in New York City. We always do technical questions, which are closed-ended for the second stage. A number of different ways to configure this. And then I click Inspire Me. We always say Inspire Me. It's not, we're not saying definitely, absolutely use this. It's inspiration. But we've got this in, tuned to such a way that this is like, it's an 8 out of 10. It should always be at least an 8 out of 10 for what you're looking for. So technical question, imagine you're tasked with securing a new application that will handle sensitive customer data. You need to ensure it complies with regulation, industries, and standards. Have you previously implemented security measures that align with GDPR and CCPA? Right? What measures did you put in place? Can you describe any challenges, etc.? Right, here's another one to do with network traffic and notice unusual activity. And here's another one to do with a risk assessment for a new project to do.
So do you send this to the hiring manager and get them to sign off or add or do whatever? I mean, because again, this is incredibly quick. You give a quick cursory overview, kick it over to the experts who actually do this work, and then allow them to do the fine tuning.
I can, yeah. So here's my candidate interview for this particular one, mechanical engineer based in Birmingham. I just click on the share button, send it with the hiring manager, who's Mike Hughes. I post in here, take a look at my whatever it might be, and then click save, send. I can do the same with my playbooks. I've got this playbook for cybersecurity specialist. I just click on here, share, and then I've got the opportunity to send it over. They can then come in here, right? So they get access to the information, and they can then go at Adam. This is bad. And then I get a notification up here to say Chad says that my job advert's bad, and then I can exactly. So, what do you think?
Well, I think as we've talked about, people saying AI is going to take, recruiters' jobs. I think this is a great example of it's going to take the time off of the recruiter's plate so that they can be more human. They can talk to candidates. They can get those relationships with those hiring managers that they never really had time for in the first place because they were doing all this. They're spending all this time doing all of this research, and they didn't have a chance to actually go sit down and really figure out, maybe in their time, their slot of time, but now they have more time to be able to do more human things and get the right talent into the company.
Or they were skipping all of that. And going out trying to work on those recs pretty much blind. So,
well, and how many times have you heard, I know, because working with a lot of technical types, talking about, I had a recruiter talk to me yesterday. He didn't know anything about the language, right? Anything about the language or the infrastructure or anything about it. And instead of being able to go into it and having more research, not that you have to be an expert, because you're not going to be an expert, but to have at least look like you've done the homework, this does the homework.
Yeah, absolutely. Chad, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today and bring some of this to life with some of your own examples and anecdotes. It's been great to see you again, and
you too.
Look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks
everybody for joining. Thanks for watching, guys.
Cheers.
Later.